I do kind of consider these two closer in skill. But here we go. We're jumping into our next game and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn. We have the South Korean Terran player, the blue Terran representing Team Hyper 1, living in the land of Japan. It is HonMonO. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player, the red Terran, the Brood Terran. It is QuanTa. And if you are in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series. Best of luck. Best of luck. Oh my god, his HonMonO is going for a proxy. He's an animal. 2 SCVs for 2 Raxes. I mean, HonMonO, he was able to cheese Shin out of a previous SEL, and now he's looking to do the same to QuanTa. Again, HonMonO is a very aggressive player. He has a reputation. I'm sure QuanTa is aware of that, and QuanTa is going for his own proxy as well. Problem, though, is that HonMonO is going to hit first, as QuanTa is going for 1 Rax at home, and he's setting up for a factory across the map. Gas has been taken. I'm curious. Do we go for the Rax or the factory? Do we look to float into the main? He's cooking, Bobby. He's cooking. We're not going to be able to taste his food because I think he's going to die first. Yep, there we go. Factory across the map. I think the goal is to get into the main base and maybe proxy Vulture. But the problem is the Raxes are done. The problem is that proxy Reaper will hit first before whatever this is. Oh boy. And Reapers are quite mobile. Marines, they have a hard time keeping up with Reapers without Vultures to defend. This might just be a build order loss for QuanTa. We don't get build order losses too often, but this might be the case here. Might be. There's a chance, I mean, we have 2 Marines. There's a chance if we can pull the boys in time, maybe we can deal and maybe we can shut down one of the Reapers initially. Meanwhile, Factory is floating into the main. I imagine going for the Vultures. Reapers, they bust in. And with good enough control, yeah, the Reapers, they should not die. Reapers are low, boys are being pulled. But there's only 1 Marine left. Soon to be another. Reapers are currently being forced out. Vulture production has begun. QuanTa's still in this. Second Marine has arrived. Repair is going up. Where are the extra Reapers though? There we go. Additional Reapers have arrived. Across the map, the Vulture has made it, but the boys are being pulled to try to shut this down. And these Reapers are just stumbling out of control. Like, there's just not much that can be done against them. There's only 1 Marine being built at a time here. Marine falls, SCVs will fall as well. Across the map, there is a second Vulture though. Okay. We're going for a base trade in a sense. One of the Vultures is very low though. Is very low. Nice kiting here by QuanTa. Does kite away. Cyclones in production. Reapers across the map wreaking havoc. They will eventually kill every single SCV. And the Cyclone will shut down the Vultures, but how many SCVs will go down before the Cyclone arrives? Cyclone is halfway done. Every worker is going to die. Every single SCV is going to fall here. And then we can lift buildings. But I do still favor HonMonO in a head-on fight. Because the Cyclone is going to spawn in, the Reapers can race back home, and yeah, these Vultures, they're forced out. So HonMonO defends. I can't say the same for QuanTa. Bearing in mind, HonMonO can mule. So HonMonO, he's muling. QuanTa does not have mule available. Vultures are racing back. There's 1 SCV to repair. And it was a good effort, but again, like in this kind of... when these 2 builds face off, I do feel like it was just a build order win for HonMonO. Unfortunately, we do have a machine shop finishing up. Not a tech lab. Going for spider mines. True. Okay. There is a world with spider mines. Bearing in mind, spider mines are an NG-based units in a way. Like, they don't cost resources. So, QuanTa can actually win a fight with spider mines. Unironically. Okay. Unfortunately, the Cyclones are a different problem. Yeah. There's still a chance, though. There is still a chance for QuanTa with spider mines. As he is up to how many vultures? Up to 5 vultures. He does have eyes on the Reapers. He can set up a trap. The problem, though, is dealing with this. Especially with a full wall. Like, honestly, HonMonO can just turtle on one base and just mass up an army and just win the game from there. If, again, if these Cyclones weren't here, then maybe QuanTa could still win this game. I mean, technically, there is still a chance. If he can get HonMonO to chase him, then maybe as well. If HonMonO is overconfident, one vulture already goes down. Like, the problem is that there's no reason for HonMonO to move out. There is no reason. You can see the Reapers are maneuvering around. And GG gets called. GG gets called. HonMonO takes game 1. It was a good effort by QuanTa. I appreciate the ingenuity of going into spider mines at the end there, but as we saw, like, there was just no reason for HonMonO to move out. There was no reason to move out across the map. Unlike QuanTa, HonMonO could also mule, so even though he lost all of his SCVs, he still has an economy. Brood War Terran does not have mules, so cannot really replace and macro back up as easily as SC2 Terran. So GG, well played. Interesting dynamic though, very interesting. And with that, we're getting into game number 2. Getting into game 2. And we'll see if QuanTa can bounce back or if HonMonO can claim the series. Ooh. As QuanTa is choosing to stick with Brood War. He's sticking with Brood War, and HonMonO is playing SC2 Terran once again. Here we go. As we are getting into our second game. We're going to be jumping into game 2, and we're going to be loading into Polar Point and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner. We have the South Korean Terran player, the blue Terran rolling SC2 Terran, representing Team Hyper 1. It is HonMonO. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Brood War Terran player, the red Terran representing himself. It is QuanTa. Here we go. Now, very quickly here, we're loading into a 4-player spawn map. What does that mean? That means RNG. That means you do not know where your opponent is. They could be top right, top left, or bottom left. They could be at any corner of the map. There is no rule set. In SC2, especially in the later years of SC2, there were certain rule sets placed where, you know, for some maps it was only cross spawn and there was never like linear spawn locations for 4-player maps. That is not the case here. It is full RNG, full random. Because of that, that will impact the builds. It does make certain things more risky and certain things more safe. We do have CC first. CC first by QuanTa off of 0 gases. We have HonMonO going for a Rax expand, what looks to be an economic opener. We do have QuanTa going for the SCV scout towards the north, is checking the northern expansion. HonMonO has not gone for an SCV scout whatsoever yet. So no worker scout. QuanTa will confirm that there is no Terran here in the top right. And we'll have to check top left and bottom left as well. Oh boy. So it's going to be a bit of a later scouts. First, we do see QuanTa going for a very bio-heavy follow-up here, throwing down 3 Raxes at once. So it's going to be bio out of QuanTa, not mech. Meanwhile, he's checking top left. Likewise, looks like HonMonO did rally. Yeah, he's rallying his Reaper towards top left as well. So QuanTa, through the process of elimination, he does now know that HonMonO has spawned in bottom left. So QuanTa, he's aware of where HonMonO is. HonMonO is not aware of where QuanTa is, as HonMonO is still scouting, still checking. He will find the SCV, and that could be a tell. SCV is shut down. HonMonO might believe that the SCV was coming from a base. We'll confirm there is no base though. There is no expansion. So HonMonO is now checking top right. QuanTa is aware. Sending out an SCV. Interesting. I'm curious what the plan is going to be here. Just scouting. Just scouting to confirm as Marines are amassing. Just getting to mass Marine. HonMonO now knows where QuanTa is. Now confirms his spawn location. SCV Scout gets eyes on the production. Get 2 gases. Racks into factory to starport. 111. And QuanTa is rushing into stim. From the side of HonMonO, he has options. He can go into Banshees from here with a tech lab. For now, going for a reactored Cyclone. Very safe opener. We have seen Brood War Terran players go into mass Wraith and just go for like mass air. So again, just really safe start from HonMonO, especially because he doesn't really know what's going on. Did get eyes on the bunker. Ooh, medic production here from QuanTa. Let's go. Bearing in mind that unlike SC2, there are no add-ons for Brood War, so there's no reactor, there's no tech lab. Ooh, and QuanTa going for a very strong stim timing. Stim is about to finish in 5 seconds. QuanTa's moving out. As he moves out, the Cyclones are moving in. Uh-oh. Now, HonMonO will miss the main army, and back at home, HonMonO doesn't really have anything. He has 2 Cyclones. 2 Cyclones are about to spawn in to defend. The others, they get across the map. They do outrange the bunker. Here we go, Marines. They stim in. Nice kiting here with the Cyclones, though. They do pull away. SCVs are targeted down. 2 SCVs so far. Getting up to 4. The Raven has arrived. Throws down the auto turret. Zones away the bio. Another stim. Oh my god, that's going to be 10 worker kills. Honestly, nice damage here by QuanTa, but he's being cleaned up. Ooh. The Cyclone gets 1. Gets 1 Cyclone. Meanwhile, the other 2 did race back, and it looks like HonMonO will clean this up. More reinforcements on the way. QuanTa trying to get on top of the Cyclones. Gets 1 more. There's 2 left. There's 1 left. Very nice kiting. Very nice stutter stepping by QuanTa. Oh my god. It takes down the Raven. Oh, the Raven barely survives. Barely gets away on 5 HP. But QuanTa still has enough to maintain himself. Honestly, this 3 racks is brutal. Like, I was just thinking that this hits earlier than normal, and it hits harder as well. There's a lot to go into, but for now, auto turret gets thrown down. Boys are being pulled. HonMonO will survive. He will survive. He will defend. So, I want to get into this. So, 3 racks exist in SE2, and they're seen very commonly against Protoss. They're sometimes kind of seen against Zerg off of a 2 racks Reaper opener, but 3 racks is, the difference is that in SE2, they hit hard, they hit fast, but there's no sustain, because there's no medevacs. With a 3 racks, there's no factory, there's no starport, there's no medevac support. For Brood War, 3 racks are quite different because they do hit with support, they hit with medics, and because of that, you can stim so often. It was crazy how often QuanTa could stim and sustain himself and deal damage. Like, that was insane. QuanTa didn't kill HonMonO, but he dealt so much damage. Can he survive the counterattack, though? As we do see that HonMonO is going into mech. It's going to be Mass Cyclone Hellion into Battle Mech. 3rd base being taken. But yeah, it was just really fascinating to see that kind of 3 racks build coming to full fruition and how different it is to SC2 3 racks. It was really cool. Didn't quite kill HonMonO. I mean, if HonMonO had controlled any worse, any poorly, he would have lost every Cyclone, and that could have been game then and there. Like, it was thanks to the control of HonMonO that he was able to survive as well. Meanwhile, Siege mode is being researched. Bearing in mind, this is back in the day when Siege, when tanks, they had to learn how to siege. They don't know how to do so off the bat. So it's halfway done. Both armies are posturing here at the center of the map, forcing out a stim. Oh, that is a lot of Ravens, though. That's 4 Ravens for HonMonO. A lot of auto turret potential. But Siege mode is just now finishing up. Now QuanTa, he can bully back the army. Scans ahead of time, does get eyes on the 3rd. Rallying across the map. Scanning once again, does get eyes on that one tank. Tank production has begun, and now HonMonO, he's zoned away. He's zoned away, and QuanTa can go for the third. Yeah, HonMonO, he lifts. He has to lift, he has to get away. His third base is denied. Now, HonMonO does have Interference Matrix. He has Research disabled. Has researched. Can make use of it. Oh, disables are going to be a big deciding factor, actually. With this many Ravens, he can shut down every single tank. But there is enough bio here to support this army, so it's not quite simple. Even if he disables every single tank, I don't think he can kill all the tanks. It's going to be close. As QuanTa is just slowly suffocating HonMonO. Takes down the gas geyser. Tank lines are facing off. Behind this, QuanTa takes his own third, takes the economic advantage as he contains HonMonO. HonMonO going for Raven harass instead. Bold move. Ravens are moving out. They get eyes on the mineral line, and they go for the auto turrets. They're going for the SCVs. SCVs have to pull away. Oh my god, he wants to go for the kill of the building. He's going for the CC. Oh my god, and auto turrets, they do so much damage. They killed the building. That's crazy. That's quite creative, actually. Okay. I was really curious about the positioning of the auto turrets, but yeah, they went for the building instead. And just like that, QuanTa is down to 2 bases. Yo, we need to nerf, like, some auto turret building damage. That was insane. That command center melted. That was all off of energy as well. The Ravens are building energy back up once again. They can snipe another building. True. They could. Army steaming in, takes down the lib. Oh, but fighting within range of the tanks. Yeah, the Bio Army is struggling here. It does melt. Takes down at least the Cyclone Hellion. A couple of boys are pulled. 12 SCVs went down. And the auto turrets are coming back in. They're looking for another expansion, another victim. And QuanTa, does he pull back home? Yeah, the CC's under fire. Will be delayed. Army forces them in. Oof. Auto turrets are cleaned up. The base is not cancelled. Fun fact, this Bio Army is like 4 Marines and mass medic. Mainly medic here. Ooh, but QuanTa, he's within range of the expansion. Ravens are turning back around. The Liberator has arrived, and QuanTa's gonna be forced back. Getting a tank. Likewise, HonMonO trying to catch reinforcements. Okay, the libs are something that QuanTa can't really deal with. So again, that Raven harass is so threatening. And for good reason as well. I mean, the Raven's coming in from behind once again, going for the main. Yeah, headed for the mineral line. Up! SCVs are lining up! Oh, they do line up, and massive volleys go off. 5 SCVs go down. We got 5 workers, auto turrets as well. And HonMonO, yeah, he takes control of the main. Gets 13 plus SCV kills. And this main army doesn't really achieve much. It's 14 workers, so even though HonMonO is stuck on 2 bases, his economy is still comparable to QuanTa. If not better because of mules. Bear that in mind. Someone's asking in the chat, did SC2 have siege research ever? Yes, in Wings of Liberty. So back in 2010 to 2012, that was a thing in the first iteration, or first expansion of SC2. Then they got rid of it in Heart of the Swarm. I believe it wasn't Heart of the Swarm. It might have been like a patch in Wings of Liberty, but I think it was Heart of the Swarm, if I remember correctly. As Ravens, they do manage to get away. QuanTa now gets his third base up and running, is more secure. with Fire Tank. And HonMonO is finally breaking free, finally expanding and taking his own third base. I say that, but did I speak too soon? Because here comes QuanTa. This time with Ghosts. And we do lock down some of those tanks. Going for his own disables. But he can't really gain much ground. Again, there's still so many tanks. Can he stim in? Yeah, lockdown is lasting a long time. Third base is denied, but the tanks survive. Tanks do survive for HonMonO. Slowly pushing forward. Spells are running out. Even though QuanTa didn't kill any tanks, he at least denies the expansion. That's the real goal here. Stimming in, takes down the libs. Oof. Was a bit of a costly engagement. HonMonO checking for another base. Sorry, I should say QuanTa checking for another base. As QuanTa's being bullied back by the superior tank count. Oof. Does disable another one of those libs, taking a fourth base behind this. But I don't think he can really stand his ground here. Yeah, he's being forced back. He's delaying the third, but only for so long. Finally, HonMonO does take the base. QuanTa backing off. Attempting to get within range. And is within range of the base itself. Tank shots going off. Hellion run by behind this, but there are tanks to defend. SCVs are lining up and even forcing friendly fire. Oof. It's going to be 6 SCV kills. As finally HonMonO can expand and still has a pretty threatening force of tanks. How many tanks is that? That's 14 tanks! 14 tanks from HonMonO. QuanTa rotating around, coming in from behind. He could try to get us around or even just bypass the main army and head towards the natural. He's looking for an opening. And the main army is spotted. Hellions get locked down. But HonMonO, again, with this massive mech army, he's holding his own, and I don't see a world where QuanTa can push into this. Even with all those disables, with all those ghosts, like, it's going to be so difficult. Maybe trying to fight for control of the air, but there's already Viking Lib. So it's going to be an uphill battle for QuanTa, especially now that HonMonO has a fresh mining base. Hellion Runby is moving out. QuanTa does miss it. Back at home. Ooh, that expansion is exposed. And Hellions, they sneak past. They're going for the mineral lines. And they're going to be able to roast it up. There's no escape for these SCVs. They're all alone. Yeah, the SCVs are trapped. And that's going to be so many worker kills. Oof. It's going to be 20 plus SCVs going down. A brutal loss here for QuanTa. With 27, 28 SCVs. And just like that, QuanTa's economy is crippled. Now has a lower worker count than HonMonO. These Hellions are going to be cleaned up, but this was a cheap army for HonMonO. He can't afford to lose it. That's just building up more tanks. QuanTa down to 49 SCVs. But QuanTa is at least denying the expansion, denying the fourth. Who even gets a kill? Not bad. Kills the CC. And while Liberator range is on the way, vehicle upgrades as well. Ooh, the main base is mined out for HonMonO. Natural almost mined out as well. HonMonO doesn't have the best economy, but still has a terrifying army. As if he's rallying into their deaths. I think this is a misrally from QuanTa. Like, he's not close to maxing out, so some brutal losses there from the red Terran. Yeah, it looks like he was meant to rally up here. Taking another base. And interesting, QuanTa going into Mass Wraith. So as we mentioned before, I was curious if he was going to try to, like, how do you break this with air? Like, Sky Terran is the way to break Mass Tank. So getting into Mass Wraith makes sense, but he's behind when it comes to the air army. Like, there's already Viking Lib, so it's not going to be too easy to really get into this. So HonMonO just rotates, is taking another expansion. We'll get it. Thor production has begun for HonMonO. Again, more anti-air. Oh, and QuanTa is a little bit too late to respond. This base will get up as well. HonMonO takes a fresh mining base. He's sitting in. He's crazy. I'm not sure he can. We get the mass lockdowns and disables, but alas, there's so many tank volleys going off. Can QuanTa break through? Takes down a good half of the tanks. And will get on top of the base. Does get on top of the CC. Doesn't break the main army, but does get the expansion. Whew. Okay. That's all he needed. Kill the base. Cripple the economy. And here comes the first Wraith. Let's go. BC production. Let's go. Battle cruisers on the way. Army Simeon. Yeah, the second half of tanks has arrived. Oh my god, but we do actually disable almost every single unit. Just one tank behind this. If it wasn't for that one tank, HonMonO would have lost everything. We needed one more ghost. One more lockdown. Meanwhile, here towards the north, Race are wreaking havoc. No missile turrets. No anti. It takes a while for the Race to kill anything, but they will. Eventually. SCVs are going down. Oh, this is a bit of an overextension. Oh, that was like 2 ghosts going down. But here come the BCs. Yeah, battle crews, they are operational. They're anti-air shots. As they do slowly pick away at the tanks. Vikings have arrived. They're within 1-shot range. They can be targeted down. There is a Thor as well on the ground. At least HonMonO has an expansion up and running, and now is being forced to go into mass Thor Viking. And behind this QuanTa is taking more bases, more expansions, more bases. QuanTa's economy is still booming. He can still remax, rebuild, and keep going. Still making 3 BCs at a time. Yamato is being researched. Yamato is not done yet, but it's on the way. And HonMonO going for a desperation Hellion run by. QuanTa, he does keep up. Goes to the mass scans. QuanTa looking for more expansions, looking for more bases. Making sure there's no ninja bases from HonMonO. And again, there's no answer to mass BC. Not yet. Now, I'm curious, how many Yamatos can an SC2 Thor take? That's what I'm curious about. There's going to be a lot of Yamatos available. And I'm going to be favoring QuanTa in the next fight. But we'll see. This is where, honestly, ghost production would be really good for HonMonO. This is something that is no longer the case, but for those old school SC2 players, you would remember Yamato used to be an energy-based spell in SC2 as well, until recently. Like, it is based on energy, not off cooldown. So EMPs would actually be quite impactful, is what I'm saying, is what I'm trying to get at. So Ghost and EMP would actually be quite useful here to HonMonO against those BCs. It was only in Legacy of the Void that battle cruisers in SC2 did change to no longer rely on energy. So relatively, it's still like a couple of years ago, but relatively recently, Yamato's going off. Oh my god, they 2-shot. Yamato's a two-shot. GG gets called, and QuanTa will tie up the series 1-1. We are going to the ace match. Whew. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. A nice kind of cherry on top there to end the game with the BCs, with the Yamatos. And with that, QuanTa forces the ace match. Let's go. The series will continue, and we're getting into game number 3. Oh my god. But yeah, I should have more faith in QuanTa. Like, there were a couple of times there where he would just rush into tank lines and go for the mass lockdowns, and it would kind of work. I say kind of work. It wasn't the most efficient fights from QuanTa, but because QuanTa was up 2-3 bases, he could afford those trades, he could afford those losses. He would lose a lot of bio doing so, but, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, he can just throw wave after wave of bio and out-trade his opponent over time. Did eventually overwhelm HonMonO. GG. GG, well played. Whew. With that, we're going to the ace match. We saw, if you maybe tune in halfway through, HonMonO cheesed the hell out of QuanTa in game 1. So HonMonO, he won with aggression in game 1. Game 2, we had a longer macro game where QuanTa was able to thrive. What do we have for us here in game 3? Do we have another proxy, or do we have another longer game? But I do appreciate that we have an ace match here, regardless. One way or another, one of these two players will make it into the grand finals. Who's it going to be? A spawning in the top right-hand corner of Alkion, and we have the South Korean Terran player, the SC2 Terran, representing Hyper 1. It is HonMonO. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Brood War Terran player, the Red Terran, representing himself. It is a QuanTa. That was beautiful. Such a cool SC1 versus SC2. Personally, so far, we've only been casting like 3 or 4. Oh, he's proxying again. HonMonO is going proxy 2x Reaper. Same build that we saw in game 1. But personally, after casting like 4 or 5 of these tournaments, personally, I do like the dynamic most of mirror matchups. I love the dynamic of like SC of Brood War Terran versus SC2 Terran, of Brood War Protoss against SC2 Protoss, like same with Zerg as well. Personally, I feel like the mirror matchups are the most fascinating because they're so similar but yet so different as well, and it's in those differences that is like, it's so interesting to kind of see their dynamic play out. So personally, I do like those the most so far when it comes to casting. I guess like it just piques my own interest, but regardless, we're calming things down, and we should be setting up for the proxy Reapers. Now, QuanTa's going for an SCV Scout. Now, as a reminder, it's not quite clear-cut game 1. If you remember, game 1 wasn't just HonMonO cheese and then QuanTa died. It was HonMonO cheesed, and QuanTa also went proxy factory, which was, it felt like a build order loss. Now, QuanTa with the SCV Scout will confirm the Raxes are missing. He gets eyes on both gases, confirms the Raxes are nowhere to be found, and he should be respawning back at home. CC on the high ground, factories on the way. You can see the Marine here ready at the Reaper Cliff, and the bunker is, Depot's on the way. No bunker yet. Ooh, HonMonO doubling down. There's layers to this proxy. Initially 2x Reaper into 2x Marauder. Oh boy. Reapers have arrived. Gonna be able to lay the CC. Not the biggest pickup, but damage nonetheless. Boys are being pulled, the Marines do survive, and so far QuanTa is holding, getting a vulture. Marauder production has begun. Now with this factory, this can be for a Hellion to support, so Marauder Hellion, or we could head into like a starport, into like a medevac or a Liberator as well. I'm curious. But I'm pretty sure this should be Hellion, but we'll see. Oh, Cyclone even, okay. Cyclone instead. Regardless, HonMonO is building up and he's working towards a concussive shell follow-up. And without a bunker, I am concerned for QuanTa. QuanTa, he's expanding! He doesn't know. He doesn't know how committed this is. He assumes it's still proxy 2x Reaper because of what happened in game 1. And without a bunker, this army is so fragile. Marauders, they can focus down the vultures and everything else can crumble as well. QuanTa's looking for the proxy, looking for the Raxes, trying to figure out what's going on. Vultures are moving out across the map. And here come the Marauders. They're about to reveal themselves. And QuanTa is getting caught out. The other Marines, they're falling one after the other. Vultures are racing back home, but at this point it's too little too late. Vultures, they can't even touch this army. Yeah, bunker in the main, and no bunker for QuanTa. And I was hoping for a longer game. I would love to have seen the mid-game between these two again. Alas, boys are being pulled for a surround. Vultures can be targeted by the Marauders. Yeah, the Vultures, they melt. And I don't see QuanTa holding this. He has one tank on the high ground. He has one tank. And one Marine. Two Marines even. But so many SCVs are falling. There's still 4 Marauders left over. The Cyclones are still on full HP. They take down a depot. They bust into the main. And QuanTa, he got caught with his pants down. GG, good luck gets called. And HonMonO will take the series 2-1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Congratulations here to HonMonO. My condolences to QuanTa. QuanTa, again, because of what happened in game 1, which was Proxy 2-Rax Reaper, it looked like he just assumed. He just assumed that HonMonO was going for the same build. As we saw, it was very different. It was a bit of a juke there from HonMonO, where he reveals one thing and then he transitioned into something much more committed, and unfortunately QuanTa was just unaware. QuanTa just didn't know. If he was aware, he would have set up bunkers on the high ground, would have been just more fortified and more defensive in his main, would not have tried to expand and take the natural. Alas, just some lacking information there for QuanTa, and was taken advantage of. GG, well played. HonMonO advances on. Does advance on, and this is very similar to SEL number 1. For those that were here for it, in StarCraft Evolution League number 1, Shin was the favorite player, and Shin got cheesed the hell out by HonMonO in the quarterfinals, and that threw everything up in the air. Likewise, I think I would stand by favoring QuanTa in like some longer macro games, but HonMonO cheeses him out, makes it to the finals. GG, well played. GG, well played. HonMonO will be our Terran representative in the grand finals. Let's go.